The Beatles. The Beatles. 1. Introduction. 2. Early lives and formation of the band. 3. Beatlemania and early success 1962-1965. 4. Musical evolution and studio innovation 1965-1967. 5. Business ventures and internal tensions 1967-1969. 6. The end of the Beatles 1969-1970 Ho. 7. Post-Beatles careers. 8. Legacy and cultural impact. 9. Conclusion.
1. Introduction.
The Beatles are, without question, one of the most influential and iconic bands in the history of music. Formed in Liverpool in the early 1960s, the band comprised John Lennon, Paul McCartney, George Harrison, and Ringo Starr. Together, they revolutionized popular music and culture, setting standards that continue to influence artists across genres and generations. This biography traces their journey from humble beginnings in Liverpool to global superstardom. The evolution of their musical style, their eventual breakup, and the legacy they left behind. 2. Early lives and formation of the band. John Lennon was born on October 9, 1940, in Liverpool. Raised by his aunt, Lennon was known for his rebellious nature and early interest in music. Paul McCartney, born on June 18, 1942, also grew up in Liverpool and a working-class family. He met Lennon at a church fete in 1957, and the two quickly bonded over their shared love of music. George Harrison, born February 25, 1943, was introduced to Lennon and McCartney through mutual friends and joined their band, then called the Quarrymen. Ringo Starr, born Richard Starkey on July 7, 1940, and Liverpool, joined the group in 1962, replacing original drummer Pete Best. The band evolved from the Quarrymen to the Beatles, blending rock and roll, skiffle, and pop into a unique sound. Manager Brian Epstein and producer George Martin played crucial roles in refining their style and securing their first recording contract. 3. Beatlemania and early success 1960-1965. The Beatles' first single, Love Me Do, was released in October 1962 and achieved moderate success. However, it was their follow-up single, Please Please Me, that catapulted them into stardom. Their debut album, also titled Please Please Me, was recorded in a single day and topped the UK charts, with hit after hit including She Loves You, I Want to Hold Your Hand, and All My Loving. The Beatles became a sensation in the UK. Their popularity spread rapidly across Europe, and by 1964, they had taken America by storm with a historic appearance on The Ed Sullivan Show, watched by over 70 million viewers. This period marked the height of Beatlemania and unprecedented fan frenzy. The Beatles toured extensively, and their concerts were marked by frenzied audiences, often drowning out the music. During this era, they released albums such as A Hard Day's Night, Beatles for Sale, and Help, each showcasing their growing musical sophistication. 4. Musical evolution and studio innovation 1965-1967. Tired of the limitations of live performance and seeking creative freedom, the Beatles retreated to the studio. The result was a series of groundbreaking albums that pushed the boundaries of popular music. Rubber Soul 1965 marked a turning point, featuring introspective lyrics and diverse musical influences, including folk and Indian music. Revolver 1966 expanded their sonic palette with experimental techniques, such as reverse tape loops and innovative guitar effects. In 1967, the Beatles released Sgt. Pepper's Lonely Hearts Club Band, a concept album that is widely regarded as a masterpiece. It was a landmark in recording artistry and album production. Using advanced studio techniques and thematic cohesion, the album won 4 Grammy Awards, including Album of the Year. This period also saw the Beatles exploring spirituality and psychedelia. They studied transcendental meditation with Maharishi Mahesh Yogi and experimented with psychedelic substances. which influenced their music and visuals. 5. Business ventures and internal tensions 1967–1969. The sudden death of manager Brian Epstein in 1967 left the Beatles without a strong guiding hand. Seeking to take control of their business affairs, they founded Apple Corps, a multimedia company that included Apple Records. However, the venture was fraught with mismanagement and financial strain. As individual members pursued personal interests, creative differences began to surface. The White Album 1968, officially titled The Beatles, reflected this fragmentation. A double LP, it featured a wide range of styles and solo efforts, highlighting each member's growing independence. During this time, tensions grew within the band. McCartney's leadership clashed with Lennon's avant-garde direction, and Harrison felt his contributions were undervalued. Ringo Starr briefly left the band during the recording sessions. 6. The end of the Beatles 1969–1970. Despite internal strife, the Beatles recorded Abbey Road 1969, which included classics like Come Together, Something, and Here Comes the Sun. Though they briefly reunited to record Let It Be, the sessions were marred by conflict and lack of cohesion. The project was shelved and later completed with the help of producer Phil Spector. As individual members pursued personal interests, creative differences began to surface. The White Album 1968, officially titled The Beatles, reflected this fragmentation. A double LP, it featured a wide range of styles and solo efforts, highlighting each member's growing independence. On April 10, 1970, Paul McCartney publicly announced his departure from the band. The Beatles were officially over. The Let It Be album and film were released post-breakup, marking the end of an era. 7. Post-Beatles careers. Each member of the Beatles pursued solo careers with varying degrees of success. McCartney formed Wings and enjoyed a long solo career with hits like Band on the Run and Live and Let Die. Lennon released powerful solo work, including Imagine, but was tragically murdered in 1980. George Harrison achieved critical acclaim with his triple album All Things Must Pass, and organized the Concert for Bangladesh, one of the first major charity concerts. Ringo Starr had solo hits and later formed the All-Star Band, touring regularly, despite their separation. The Beatles occasionally collaborated behind the scenes and remained connected in the public's imagination. 8. Legacy and cultural impact. The Beatles' influence on music, fashion, art, and politics is immeasurable. They redefined what a rock band could be, pioneered the concept of the studio album, and helped elevate popular music to an art form. Their music, marked by melodic genius, lyrical depth, and stylistic diversity, continues to inspire. They have sold over 600 million records worldwide, won numerous Grammy Awards, and were inducted into the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame. Songs like Hey Jude, Yesterday, and Let It Be are considered timeless classics. The 1990s saw a brief reunion in the form of the Beatles Anthology Project, including 2 new songs created from Lennon's demo tapes. In 2021, Peter Jackson's documentary Get Back offered a fresh look at their final recording sessions, renewing interest in their story for new generations. 9. Conclusion. The Beatles' journey from Liverpool teenagers to global icons is a story of artistic brilliance, cultural transformation, and human complexity. They changed the sound of music and the face of pop culture. More than 50 years after their breakup, their legacy endures, proving that the Beatles were not just a band, but a phenomenon that redefined the 20th century.